Government is not reason. Government is not eloquence. Government is force. And like fire, it's a dangerous servant and a fearful master. Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in. My name's Daniel Hapney. I've said that before, right? And this is the real story. I used to tell people, and I still tell you, follow the money, and you'll find the truth. Got a really good show for you tonight. A lot of interesting facts that you may not know, or maybe they went by when you were busy in life, because in life you get busy. You never know. You know what's happening next. You're very busy. You got to go do stuff, got to jump through hoops. So my thing is, we're going to give you like thoughts of the day, then we're always going to give you a good quote, and then we'll read over some news stories, and then I'll roll that into what is tonight's main topic, and that is, do you remember when Bush was in the presidency, and I was over there saying, you know what, there's criminals in our government. And back then they would have called me a leftist. I'm a lefty. I'm left-leaning because I'm picking on these right-wing people. Well, now we got Obama. And, gee, because he came from the Democrats, which are supposed to be left, now I'm a right-wing kook. So just for you, I want you to think about that paradigm thing of like the duopoly, that you're supposed to believe that there are only two parties. And yet, ask yourself, why do those two parties do the same thing? Why do those two parties hire the same people? Why do they follow the same plans? Why do they always owe their allegiance to globalist banksters? Well, we'll get into that. So, for tonight's stuff, we'll start off with my thought of the day, a little dissertation from Thomas Jefferson, because, gosh, these founding father types, I like what they wrote. Here it goes. Here's your thought for the day, for tonight's show. And that is, if we run into such debts as that we must be taxed in our meat and in our drink, in our necessities and our comforts, in our labors and our amusements, for our callings and our creeds, as people of England are, our people, like them, must come to labor 16 hours in a 24-hour period, and give their earnings of 15 of those 16 hours, to the government for their debts and daily expenses. And the 16th being insufficient to afford us bread, we must live, as they do now, on oatmeal and potatoes. Have no time to think, no means of calling the mismanagers to account, but be glad to obtain subsistence by hiring ourselves to rivet their chains around the necks of our fellow sufferers. And this is the tendency of all human governments. A departure from principle in one instance becomes a precedent for a second, that second for a third, and so on till the bulk of society is reduced to mere automatons of misery. To have no sensibilities left but for sinning and suffering. And the forehorse of this frightful team is public debt. Taxation follows that, and in its train, wretchedness and oppression. So that's my thought. Why? Because we're now at the time of what? Another, quote, bailout. And you know me, I call them anti-bailouts. These are basically, it's more economic destruction of the United States done by globalist banksters. They're now creating so much money, what? On a weekly basis. They're authorizing $1 trillion here, $700 billion there, $400 billion for this. And we think that because they say it, the money is going to have value. Because they create money from nothing, it's going to have value. What it's going to do is it's going to lead to hyperinflation. So my question to the audience this week, one of the questions is going to be, are you ready for hyperinflation? Are you prepared for tyranny? Is your family ready for hyperinflation? Are they prepared for tyranny? Is this just history repeating itself? That's my thoughts for you. Those are my questions. Are you ready? Get ready. Well, don't listen to me. Could you get ready for hyperinflation? Do you have any grasp of what's going on? All this money from nothing. Has that happened before in history? Could it happen again? Are you living through it, but you're so, on Prozac or Ritalin or some drug by Big Pharma that you can't, pay attention to what's going on? Are you just befuddled? Are you BS'd? So anyway, here's one for you. This tells you a little bit of the State of the Union. The U.S. Mint suspends production of more gold and silver coins. Wonder why that is, huh? They can print all the money in the world. Hey, they could bail out AIG, they can bail out BIC, whatever. You with me? They can give all this money to banks who should be failing, floundering, and going out of business because they were bad banks and bad bankers. But oh no, they're too big to fail. We now have socialism where nobody can fail. But you and your family, will they allow you to fail? Are they going to let you be hungry? Or are they everything now? So anyway, this is interesting. The United States Mint has officially announced the suspension of another, slate of gold and silver products, the American gold and silver eagles and stuff. They temporarily suspended it last year, but you probably didn't notice that, because you guys probably never even thought of any tangible assets. No, paper assets. Isn't that what they sold you? Didn't they sell you paper assets all through those years? And now they're telling you that's all based on lies and the values are crumbling. Now the new bailout thing is for you, when I say you, through your taxes and your government to buy the crappy assets that they created instead of those real tangible ones. So there you have it. Just an interesting thought because it cost them real money. And it takes real effort to dig gold out of the ground, doesn't it? Yeah, maybe even refine it, make it into some shape. But that's a whole other story. How easy is it for them to create paper? Do they do paper all the time? Now it's just electronic digits. Are they stealing from you constantly? How much are you going to let them steal from your grandchildren? There's a good question for you. When you listen to the people with all their bailout ideas, and none of them have a head on their shoulders or ran a business. And now you listen to the central bankers. You got Goldman Sachs, right, with what's his name? Your previous Treasury Secretary, Paulson, from Goldman Sachs. Now you got Timothy Geithner, New York Fed. They're stealing from your grandchildren. Gosh. Well, you'll do something when you're hungry, I think. Will you? So anyway, here's my next one for you. AIG lists the banks it paid with the U.S. bailout funds. Those funds were yours. Your grandchildren are going to be paying them, and the debt. And the banksters never want you to pay the debt back, do they? That's the whole thing with credit cards. So you just pay the minimum amount forever. So now they've got your grandchildren paying. You're making me upset because you're not doing much. You're just sitting there. No, I don't hear anybody screaming and yelling. But anyway, just so you know, Goldman Sachs, they received $12.9 billion from AIG. Oh, that was a neat way to slide the money over. Hey, I give it AIG. You don't see it's really going to Goldman Sachs. Wasn't that Henry Paulson? Hey, Larry Summers. Let's start Rubin. Citibank. We'll go into it. Merrill Lynch, 6.8. Bank of America, Citicorp. They've gone under 3 times, right? We need the money. Wachovia. Should we get into General of France, Deutsche Bank of Germany? Isn't it good to know that your tax money is going to Germans? Yeah, that's why you pay taxes in America. Okay. How about UBS of Switzerland, Barclays of Britain? That's where your AIG money went to. And if you don't believe me, show them the picture. This is where your AIG money's going. And remember, we're all worried about their what? They're giving each other raises and bonuses, and you're paying attention to that. It's like once again, we're playing that shell game. You're trying to watch the 160 million they gave in bonuses. When over here, it's hundreds of billions. But keep your eyes on this one, because I'm the mainstream manipulated media, and it's my job to keep you entertained, many times with lies. More news, here you go. It's official. You thought it was a lie, but it's official. Red Cross reports Bush administration tortured prisoners. Hey, you even heard about it, but you did nothing because you, the audience out there, torture's okay with you, remember? Because they do it on the TV, the conditioning box. On 24, torture's okay. My name's Jack Bauer. I must torture you. Yes, I'm saving the world by torturing children. This makes sense to you now. You've been conditioned. But anyway, the Red Cross says, yep, Bush administration was involved in torture, but you knew that. And you did nothing. Nothing that I saw in my lovely community of Sharon, because they're all doers in Sharon. They get up and do stuff, Truth is important to them, Truth and freedom and liberty is important to a Sharonite. I'm a Sharonite in here, says under the shirt. Okay, so anyway, this is from the Indiana Law Blog. Show them the picture, because you can't believe me. You got to see the picture sometimes. Okay, so anyway, President Obama on Wednesday issued his first signing statement. Isn't that what Bush was good at? We passed this law, but it doesn't apply to me. Okay, so anyway, signing statement reserving the right to bypass dozens of provisions of the $410 billion government spending bill, even as he signed it into law. Wow, he's doing just what Bush did because he's full of change. It gets better. In the statement, directions to the executive branch officials about how they are to carry out the legislation. Mr. Obama instructed them to view most of the disputed provisions as merely advisory and non-binding. saying there were unconstitutional intrusions to his powers. Now, it's interesting because you just found out that Dodd and Obama and Geithner, they were the ones who put in the things that you can't hold. You can't go after those big banks. No, they're above the law. So you're watching foreign banks take over our country like they did every place else. And you expect a different result, right? You expect a different result, not tyranny. Right, no. You don't expect hyperinflation. No.